In your reality, time feels linear. Past, present, future. From where I stand, it is not. It fractures. I have watched entire worlds rise from a single decision. In your world, one mind learned to look beyond. Elias, the sharpest intellect your reality ever produced. To cross the multiverse, he created Kai, a bridge between what was and what could have been. Every day, they uncover new realities born from a single question. This is what they discovered most recently.
Do you remember the pasta you had last week? The one with the bright red sauce? Is there any reality in which that simple lunch never acquired tomatoes?
Anna is at the market now, in a city that calls itself Madrid, but tastes different. She pulls a basket of pasta from a stall and looks for a tomato. The stallkeeper shakes his head and offers preserved capers and a jar of bitter sour orange instead. People gossip about a shipment of chili peppers that arrived 2 seasons ago from a private trader, rare and costly. Street vendors sell fried tubers that are not potato at all, but a root from the Canary Isles that keeps longer in winter. Booksellers display atlases, hand-drawn western coasts, annotated with notes from sailors but no royal flags, no maps of provinces held by Castile. When someone mentions the West, the word is freighted. There are stories of contact, violent returns, and voyages that never became fleets. Life is ordinary, but certain flavors and fortunes are missing.
How specific is the absence? Are tomatoes, potatoes, maize, cacao entirely absent from European markets, or are they just delayed and expensive?
They exist as rare curiosities brought back by independent captains or traders, not as staples. Potatoes are known to some gardeners. Maize appears in experimental flocks of poultry farms. Cacao comes as odd bean sacks in maritime bazaars, priced like spice. Crucially, there is no sustained, institutional flow of staple crops from the West to Europe. Markets, diets, and agricultural incentives never reorganized around American calories the way they did in our history.
If the crops are only slow to arrive, could later voyages still have introduced them and rearranged the world a century later?
Possible, but improbable on the same scale and timeline, without an early, state-backed feedback loop. Fleets returning with both cargo and the political will to invest large-scale transplantation of crops and labor systems never takes off. The momentum that transformed population and economics in our world is absent here. When you say stories of contact and voyages that never became fleets, what if I ask you plainly, at what precise moment did that line split from ours?
Tell me what context you need. Which aspects of that first contact matter most to anchor the divergence in time and consequence? It is the late 15th century. A fleet under the command of Columbus lands on an island in the Greater Antilles. Instead of an uneasy parley and the capture of a few natives, the encounter escalates. The landing party is overwhelmed. Columbus and his men are killed in the initial clash, their ships damaged, without logs, without captains, and with no surviving crew able to navigate back. The expedition fails to return to Castile. Word reaches seafaring networks as rumor fragments, not an official dispatch. At the same time, Castile's court is occupied with internal consolidation and local campaigns. There is no dramatic state response. Portugal is preoccupied with routes around the Cape of Good Hope. The immediate consequence is stark. There is no celebrated report to the crown, no royal patent that turns this voyage into a program of colonization. The transatlantic feedback loop that in our history fed royal ambition, merchant investment, and migration simply never ignites.
15th century, immediate aftermath. Europe receives rumors, but no royal claim. Portuguese expansion intensifies along African coasts and Indian Ocean routes. 16th century. Without American silver, Castile lacks the sudden treasure that funded expansive armies. Spanish continental influence grows more slowly. Indigenous polities in the Americas remain politically intact in many regions. Some experience local collapses from disease and conflict, but there is no continent-wide demographic catastrophe driven by settler colonialism at scale. Plantation agriculture, dependent on transatlantic labor systems, does not emerge the same way tropical export systems are localized and controlled by coastal polities and independent traders. 17th century. Atlantic trade is more diffuse. African slave trade exists, but develops on different circuits, often focused on intra-African and Indian Ocean needs rather than mass transport to vast American plantations. 18th and 19th centuries. Industrialization occurs in Europe, but with different financial flows and a slower accumulation of capital tied to American mines. Nation-states form on different timetables in both hemispheres. 20th century. The absence of centuries of extractive colonial structures yields Americas characterized by a mosaic of indigenous-led states, hybrid polities, and coastal trading hubs that engage with Europe and Asia on their own terms. Today, global cuisines, demographics, and geopolitics are recognizable, but rearranged European diets lack the ubiquity of American staples. Urban centers in the Americas have grown with local resources and different urban architectures. Languages and technologies mixed differently through layered, later exchanges rather than an early, overwhelming shock.
It means that the tomato remains a regional American plant for much longer. In some ports and elite kitchens, it appears as a curiosity. In others, it arrives centuries later via different routes and in different culinary roles. The everyday mass-adopted tomato sauce that colors a continent's plates in our history does not materialize on the same timetable, so your ordinary lunch, bright red and global, exists in a different form. The wider lesson is that a single failed return collapses not only recipes, but the political momentum that remakes agriculture, labor, and finance across oceans.
If this wasn't the only timeline you'd like to visit, subscribe.